inside GP, we have three methods of entering transactions. Two that are used, one that is only used by customers who have been using GP for over 25 years. Sales order processing, which is sales transaction entry. This is how you enter a transaction when you have an item code. In other words, I want to take something out of inventory. If I do not want to take it out of inventory, I can either enter it here with a non-inventory item, or I can use the transaction entry. Transaction entry is used by people for importing transactions from third-party systems and things like that. I'm going to stick with this one. And as I go through, I just create a new document as such. I'm going to put it into a batch called test. And yes, I want to add the batch. And yep. Oh, it's got unbilled. Okay. Let's go test one. We'll go save. Test one. There we go. We're going to use Aaron Fitz again so that we know where all the information came from. He's got the net 30 payment terms and things like that. And then we can come down into here and we can put in the $1,000 that we've got in revenue. Now, I can also put a cost in here. If I put a cost in here, it's going to debit inventory. It's going to debit cost of goods and it's going to credit inventory. Some people use this, but I would say 90% do not. So I'm going to leave it blank at this point. When we hit distributions, it picked up this information from the customer card. And it says, okay, this is the sales account for $1,000. I got $70 in taxes, and receivable is that. And this one's happening to be calculating commission as well because I got it attached to a sales rep. I do not calculate commission inside Business Central at this point, just simply because of setup. So I go, okay, I can now post this, and it will then process this all the way through. That is the screen entry. So I enter this, I check my distributions to make sure that if I wanted to change my revenue, say this is $500 here to one account, and then I go to the bottom here and I go 000411002. I think that one exists. It does. I hit sales. Whoops. And then I put in another $500 here. And I shouldn't do that. Let's go $400 and let me go $600 so we can see the difference. There we are there. So now at this point, this is a balanced journal entry, not a problem. This will post properly through. It'll put $400 to this account and $600 to this account. And I can click OK, everything's fine. And then I can hit the post button and it will hit those GL codes appropriately. I'm just going to leave it at this point and hit the save. And then I'm going to go over to Business Central and I'm going to do the same entry. So underneath the entry, there's a couple of ways of handling it. You can do a sales invoice, and a sales invoice looks more like a sales transaction entry screen, but is very useful for this particular piece because what we get is a grid. I'm going to add a new one here. Just going to go new. So it automatically pops up with a new invoice number. There it is there. Now the customer number. I just need to know something about the customer. If I type in AA, it's going to find Aaron Fitz, and then Aaron Fitz, there it is, automatically puts the popular number in. You do not need to continue to use like 3 and 3 or 4 and 3, or you can use numeric numbers because all you need to do is type the customer name in either of these two fields, and it will do an online lookup as it moves through. It's got the same information that you saw against the header. There's some information in through here. Salesperson code is also attached here. As I move down into my detail lines, this is a grid-based system, so everything's on the same grid line. So I'm not using an item. I'm just hitting the general ledger. So inside here, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to grab the GL code. And when I hit the GL code, I'm going to go to here. I'm going to go 4110. And when I do that, it's going to say retail parts. There it is there. There's the description, not a problem. North code, that's fine. The quantity is 1. Whoops. The unit of measure is EAC. Just put in each. And then the unit price, including tax, is going to be $500. So I put my $500 inside here, pops through here. I'm going to make it taxable, and I'm going to go GST HST only because that's the one I've got set up. And now you'll notice down here I've got my $30 in tax. When I cross to here, there's my department code. So this is my department code, which is the I use the 000 and then 02. And then if I click beside here, this is where I can get my division code, which is where I can pick up my 000 if I want. So now this is going to generate the same entry. So at this point, I'm good. I don't need a product code or anything like that. I can then go down to the next line and I can enter in whatever I need to do inside here. So I can go 4110 again. US retail parts, North 1, each $400, and I should have made this one $600. So let me just do this and go 600, like so. We click on the GSTP at GST, and we come across here, and I'm going to add my 000, just so that it works exactly the same way. So there it is there. There's my taxes down there. And then if I go up to my preview posting, so I can preview my posting inside here, comes up with my GL entry. It's 3 lines. There it is there, $1,000, $60, and $1,060. So I've got only, I only have 6% tax listed inside here. I do not have the same taxes set up. I changed them on to make the GST. So it's a 6% tax. There it is there, and it's coming through properly as required inside here. So there is your taxes and things like that. Your debits and your credits, everything you'll notice is Division 2, 00, and then 4100. So you've got exactly the same journal entry. So this could then be posted, and then once it's been posted, it's then available for us to pay. So all you have to do is hit the post button inside here, and you can finalize the document and it posts it, and that would be the end of it. At this point here, you can also print this invoice, and if I print this, I'll hit a draft. And I'll hit preview. Won't take that long. And this is an improvement from there. So as you can see inside here, I've got a description. The description shows up. It shows up the lines, and it shows up the total tax and things like that. And I can break the tax out at the bottom. I can put shipping methods in. I can put the salesperson in. This particular screen is a customizable field or a customizable report. We can change this to do what you wish so that your sales invoice can then go out to your customer. You can also email this if you wanted to. There is an email functionality inside here as well, so that I can send this by email. There's a send to at the bottom there. So that's how you enter a transaction inside the sales invoice. The other option you have is that there is a journal, and you can just hit the sales journal. So when you click on the sales journal, it just gives me a list. So this is there's the Aaron Fitz, and there's a couple of line items inside here. I can come down to here. I can enter a new invoice number. I'll give it a new invoice number 1234, and then I'm going to put in 4110, and it will automatically fill this in. I can go into the document amount, and I can say this is $500. Whoops, or $400. And then if I move across to here, depending on where I have them, I probably have my descriptions, my department codes and division codes down here. These are easily moved. So if you want the department code moved, it's very easy to move things inside Business Central. So that gives me the, you'll notice here it's automatically done this. I'm going to need to put a customer against this. And I got to put Aaron Fitz. So I just type in the AA. There it is there. And I put in the amount of the invoice. Now the difference here is that I've got the amount here is going to be minus 1060, like so. Okay, and now there's no GL codes attached to this because it's attached to the customer. And then if I go back to the front here, I would need to go into each line item and enter it, and then this one becomes a GL code. And you just enter in what you need. 500, oops, 600, and then if I go across to here, I should have actually pushed in the department code of 02, department code of 01. And now we're done. There we are. And then if I scroll to the front, I then need to add the taxes. Right now, if I was to try and post or preview this, if I go post print, I can preview the posting. It's going to tell me probably that something is out of balance, right? Batch, default line, something's out of balance. It's telling me here that it cannot be zero. So there's a zero line on that particular transaction. But the idea behind it is that you do everything by a grid. The thing about the grid is that you always have the opportunity here to open it in Excel. And then once you've opened it in Excel, it'll open up in exactly this format. You can make any changes you like, and then you can copy and paste it on top of this and overwrite it because it's unposted. If I edit in Excel, it actually edits and allows you to republish back into Business Central. Very easy to do, and all grids can be imported from copy paste instead of just the GL one that you get inside GP. So that's how you get a cash receipt in. So then the next thing, of course, is how do I move into cash receipts? So I want to receive money now against my receivables. So what I've got inside here is, you'll notice inside here there is nothing here that says cash receipts under sales. It's not a sales function, it's a cash management function. So underneath here I have my payment journal, my cash receipts journal. Hit my cash receipts journal. There it is there. I have to select whichever one I want. I'm going to hit the cash receipts to the first bank. So it's going to put it into a bank account. And then I enter in the amounts that I wish to put inside here. And then I can apply these to on the lines. There is an application, approvals, and incoming document. And then under process, you can renumber. And then under manage and post and print, you can then do what you need to do. Underneath the page, we show lines with issues. So this is how we would do this. And then as I move across inside here, if I go like this, and oops, like so, and I put in a bank account, and I go first bank, and I'm going to put in $1,000. There, it goes to the bank account, and then applies, and then the apply to document type, it's a payment and invoice, and then apply to document number. I can click on this here, and it allows me to put in the, so I put in invoices, and then I can place the invoices inside here. Okay, so then it's a matter of how I push this through and things like that. So I put it to the bank, and away it goes. And that's how the cash receipts go in, very much like GP. Inside GP, as you're well aware, we have a cash receipt screen. Like all things, we have screens. Like so, and we put in the check amount, and then we hit the apply to apply the check against the amounts outstanding. So that's kind of what we would do on that side inside here. If I go to my payment journals inside here, this payment journal is a check run. This is how I run checks inside payables because they combine all payments inside the same thing. So the cash receipts journal allows me into that. General cash receipts. And then we've got a customer inside here. I put in the customer, put in the amount for the check, put in what kind of its offset goes to the bank. And then as I come across to here underneath the payment, I can then apply my list. And here's a list of all the outstanding transactions that are outstanding to Aaron Fitz. And I just select the ones that I wish to take. The ones that are red are already been applied, so I can't assign those. So that's going on there. I've got $655 left to apply. Okay. And then on the second one, I did an Adam Park. So that gives you an idea of how that works. So you put it against the customer, and then the bank account goes across to the first bank here.